You are listening to episode 57 of the Style and Stewardship podcast, and this is a Wellness Wednesday episode, and I hope that you get something from it. You're listening to the Style and Stewardship podcast. So what is stewardship? That is exactly what we'll be talking about in each and every episode of this podcast. As Christ followers, I think it's so important that we manage every single area of our lives to the best of our ability. Not perfectly, but intentionally in our own unique way, and holding on to God's grace every single step of our journey. On this podcast, I'll be sharing thoughts, things that God's teaching me, and transparent talks. My hope is that when you listen, you'll feel equipped, you'll be encouraged, and more than anything, I hope that you're inspired to live out your day-to-day calling in your own unique way. This podcast is for the woman who wants to hear, "Well done." Are you approaching your wellness and your health all wrong? Some of us are. Some of us are reaching for things that aren't necessarily adding any sort of health or vitality to our bodies. So in this episode, I wanted to briefly touch on some of the ways that we can begin to look at what it is that we are using to feel better or to feel our best. And sometimes we need to edit what it is that we're doing, try something different, and try a different approach. I'm all about that. I'm all about a holistic view of the entire body, a functional view of the entire body and nutrition, how everything works together. Nothing is in a silo. All of these things mingle and work together, from hormones to mineral balance to digestion to, you name it. Everything is connected. So when we look at things, I really believe that trying to change our mindsets around how we view food, and that I really believe that God created it to do some amazing things in our bodies. If we listen to our bodies and if we begin to become students of what our body and the symptoms that some of us are having are giving us. So listen to this episode if you want to just dig a little deeper, maybe think a little differently about your wellness, and see if you're approaching it in a way that is beneficial to you. So when you get a headache, or when your stomach is bothering you, or you have, acid reflux or some sort of indigestion or bloating or fatigue, what do you reach for? And what got me thinking about this was actually my husband suggested. He's like, "Hey, you should do that for a podcast episode." And I was like, you know what, actually, that's a good idea, because he called me and he asked me, he was saying that he was feeling run down, he was feeling fatigued, he wasn't sure if there was something going on as far as allergies that were, that was causing him to feel bad. And it was one of those things that I like to look at the whole picture. And obviously, holistic nutrition, you look at the entire person, you look at the entire lifestyle. And there's so many times we overlook our lifestyle and how it impacts how we feel. And we also overlook the things that we're doing day in and day out because they're habitual. These things that we've done just day in and day out have become so second nature that the last thing that we even think about sometimes is, oh, wait, yeah, this last week, I haven't gotten more than 6 hours of sleep at night, or I had really broken patterns of sleep. And when it comes to health and wellness, this thing is like, I don't know why that ridiculous movie just popped into my head, but that movie Shrek, and it was like, like an onion in Eddie Murphy's voice, layers, or like a parfait. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. I don't even like that movie. Anyways, so sorry about that. Took you down a little place. So when we are, thinking about our health and wellness, our nutrition, we have to look holistically. We have to look at the entire picture. So when he called today, he basically told me what he was feeling, what he was experiencing. And I had to remind him that he literally didn't have any days off, that he was, not only working, but, a lot of, social things when he got the opportunity to, hours and hours of driving in the car and still, working out and still, all of the different things that he does. And we put demands on our bodies that many times we don't take into account when we start to feel bad. We think, oh, I'm just going to do business as usual. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. And I had to remind him that one, God created rest, like seriously. But two, our bodies are always responding to something that it is and is not getting. If our body was a computer, which computers have nothing on our bodies because God, man, like he did something that we are still, every single year, there's new science that comes out that is trying to understand a minuscule amount of how the body even works and how the different things that we put into our bodies. This is why this is a deep well we will never get to the bottom of, because the body is so, so complex. So when we are looking at a holistic approach and we are looking from the standpoint of what is your entire lifestyle doing? What are you doing in your lifestyle on a normal basis? What are you habitually doing that may be leading to sometimes, an acute situation of just feeling bad or feeling run down, or chronic things like migraines or bloating or fatigue and all these different things that most of the time we reach for some sort of pill. We reach for, maybe the phone to call the doctor to make an appointment because they went to school. They should know, what's going on in my body. And that's why I'm always saying I want to encourage you to be your own health advocate, because if you are not the expert on your body, who will be? Who? Like, seriously, sitting in a doctor's office for the maximum time that they can spend with you, which is about 15 minutes. How much information can they really get from you within that amount of time if you don't come armed with an entire list of all the things that you've been experiencing over time? Many things are buildups of the different issues that are going on in our bodies and in our life. We don't look at our lifestyles. We don't look at, are you sleeping? And I had to literally remind my husband of how hard he's been going, in the gym, as a father, as, the amazing man that he is, he does so, so much. And when you're in the midst of doing a lot of things, sometimes we're too close to our own lives to see what we're doing because they're habits. They're things that we do. And many times, it's like jumping in a car and driving. You're not thinking every time, like every 2 seconds, I need to apply gas. I need to pump the brake. You're not thinking. You're doing these things without even thinking, automatically. And that is most of our lifestyles. We create habits of not sleeping. We create habits of not dealing with stress or not finding ways to deal with stress. And the habits that we have created and that we do create in our lives have got to, be taken into consideration when we're trying to understand why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. So if you have a cough, obviously, you have a cold. You know what I mean? There's certain things that we know, but there are some underlying factors that we need to begin to address, especially if there are things that continue to come up over and over and over and over again. Our body is screaming at us that something is off, something is out of balance, and something's not right. So yes, we get older and we age, and there's certain things that will not work as well as they did when we were, 16 years old, or like my kid me and my husband are always saying, my goodness, I wish we had his energy, because if they could bottle that, you know what I mean? If you're a parent, you already know, especially of a little boy, my goodness. So, when we are taking into account the fact that, we are eating on the run, which is going to impact our digestion. We are eating before we go to bed. And if it's something that has a lot of sugar or it has a lot of fat, if it's a heavy meal and then we go to lay down, it will literally disrupt our sleep pattern. when we're not giving ourselves enough sunlight and we're not going outside and we're not allowing, our body to get that vitamin D, or we're doing things like we are cutting out entire food groups if we don't have, don't get me wrong, I have had many food sensitivities. I have some food, we have some intolerances and all of those things. So I don't discredit the fact that there are certain things that you may not be able to eat. If there are things that you cannot eat, what are you bringing back into your diet? So I just say all of that to say this thing is deep. And there's layers like an onion or a parfait. Like there are layers to all of this in health and wellness, nutrition, lifestyle. All of these things, they interplay with one another. Just like every single organ in our body, is one system. It's not all these separate, in biology, we learn all these different systems, but that's really just to tell us the different functions of those systems. But mind you, all of these systems interplay and work within each other. So when I was speaking to my husband today, it was, my first thing is like, did you eat any vegetables today? You know what I mean? Which he did. I think he had some asparagus and some butternut squash, and of course he had some protein. And it was like, okay, how did you sleep last night? And then, we're kind of we're backtracking. I'm helping him kind of remember what his week looked like. So then he could really properly figure out what was going on. And I told him, he was like, I kind of know what you're going to say to me. But I was like, pop over to the grocery store and grab some organic blueberries if you can get some. And if they have some zinc and some elderberry, you can take that, because those things help with your immune system, because you've got antioxidants from the blueberries, and not just that, you've got tannins. I'm sorry, not tannins. You've got the elderberry and the zinc. You've got vitamin C from the elderberry and from the zinc. Zinc has been shown to cut the lifespan of a cold, by 30. And that is shown in medical documents. And it is one of the first things that I reach for if I'm feeling, some sort of cold, or, if there's an allergic thing going on, you have a lot of histamine being produced in your body. So now it's like, what can I eat that is anti-inflammatory? And that is how in our household, we address things. It's like food first, and then what lifestyle factors are playing into me feeling bad, me feeling down, me feeling fatigued. And that is how we get in front of things. And we don't create the environment to stay feeling fatigued and to stay in a place of not feeling well. So my approach to things is and I truly believe this will help you, start asking yourself lifestyle questions. How am I living right now? Meaning, how am I sleeping? How am I eating? Am I eating on the run? Am I eating in the car? Am I eating a lot of fast food? Or is what I'm eating a whole food, or is this coming out of a package with a whole bunch of ingredients in it? When's the last time I had a home cooked meal? Am I having breakfast? Can I speak? Is it sustaining me? Am I eating a proper balance of things where my blood sugar isn't spiked within 30 minutes? There's so many layers to this. And obviously this is just overarching. I just wanted to just share with you how we approach things, because I think it is truly helpful if you do a food first, lifestyle first approach to figuring out, not even necessarily figuring out, but at least getting a baseline for why you may be feeling the way that you're feeling if you're feeling terrible. And start to look at the things that matter most. And the things that matter most are the things that you are doing most often. And it's not a matter of, I've got this migraine. I always have these migraines. I need to go to the doctor. Trust me when I say I'm not telling you don't go to the doctor. Nothing on this podcast or the blog or the YouTube channel is to treat, diagnose, cure or prevent any disease or condition, go to the doctor. But what I am saying is if there are things that are going on in your body, you need to be aware of those things and what may be causing those. Because if you go to the doctor and you get a pill and this happens all over again, you are starting a cycle of never getting actual answers, never getting to the root cause of whatever your condition is. And you are beginning to look at your body as these separate parts, as opposed to there's something that you may be eating that may be causing your migraine. So we can't just focus on, I have this migraine, I get a pill. We've treated a symptom, but have we gotten to the root cause of what's going on? So for my husband, what he did was he got the blueberries. He ate a really good dinner, and I suggested to him to skip the gym. And the reason why is we think, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to feel better. But if you're in a place where you are fatigued and your body is already run down, you are literally working against your body having time to heal, which happens during rest. Rest, proper fuel, and the nutrients that your body needs. That is how we need to begin to look at why do I feel this way? So my encouragement today is for you to truly become your own health advocate by truly getting really, really honed in on what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, and what your lifestyle and what those lifestyle factors may be that are actually playing into why you may not be feeling well. As always, all of these things are, I think nutrition and health and wellness and diets and all of those things, they are so personal, and what may work for someone else may not work for you. So I can't just tell you, oh, do this and you can get rid of a migraine. But I figured I could come on these episodes and just share with you a different way of looking at what may be going on in your body so that you can begin to have an approach where you're asking yourself the questions that hopefully get you to a place of at least being in the ballpark of finding the answers that are going to work for you, benefit you, and benefit your family as well. So that is all that I have for this episode, because I could say a lot more, but I realized let me just touch on a couple of things and then we can go deeper a little later. But until next time. Oh, and update, my husband said that he was feeling so much better. So yeah, really, 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 really great news. But God has made food, I truly believe, to have amazing medicinal properties and to help our bodies perform the way that He created our bodies to form. He created food for our bodies for a reason. So until next time, your life matters. What you do with it matters. So what will you steward well?